Hello, and welcome to Nursing Research Tips, a show dedicated to sharing best practices, tips, and other resources within the areas of nursing research and evidence based practice. I'm your host, Jenny Barrow, Associate Professor of Undergraduate Nursing, who specializes in teaching students real world content to help transform their future nursing practice. I enjoy taking the boring world of research and evidence based practice and making it come alive for my students. And that's what I intend to do with this podcast. On today's episode, I have some special guests from my university's undergraduate nursing research and EBP course. Britney Cunningham, Ley Francois, Morgan LeBlanc, Tori Richardson, and Jayla Winston are joining us to discuss their evidence-based practice project. Before they get started with their discussions, though, I want to let our listeners know that I have shared a copy of these students' evidence-based practice poster to accompany this podcast episode. You can find this in the show notes for this episode, no matter what type of podcaster you're watching this on. Now, without further delay, let's turn the show over to Britney to get us started.
Hello, listeners. My name is Britney Cunningham, and on behalf of my other group members, I'd like to welcome you to our podcast discussing the work we have completed in our undergraduate nursing research and evidence-based practice course. The title of our presentation is Monitoring Made Easy, Wearable Technology for Chronic Conditions, and the members of our work group are Ley Francois, Morgan LeBlanc, Tori Richardson, and Jayla Winston. We are all undergraduate nursing students at Maine State University in Lake Charles, Louisiana.
Thank you for introducing your team to our listeners, Britney. I heard you mention wearable technology while briefly introducing your project topic, and that piqued my attention. As a smartwatch user, it amazes me that the technology on my wrist can provide my oxygen saturation level, current and resting heart rate trends, ECG trends, and more clinically relevant data. I've even had my watch mistakenly think I'd fallen and offer to seek emergency assistance for me. These technology pieces would have never been imaginable when I graduated nursing school with my BSN many moons ago. With that being said, Britney, can you tell our listeners a bit more about why you feel this particular topic is important and relevant to nurses?
Chronic diseases require continuous monitoring to ensure effective management and early detection of any health deterioration. However, many patients struggle with proper disease management due to limited access to healthcare resources. As a result, there is a growing need for alternative solutions that allow patients to manage their conditions from home. One promising solution is the use of wearable devices. These devices provide continuous monitoring, giving patients and healthcare providers real-time access to important health data. By detecting changes in vital signs and other key health indicators, wearable devices can serve as an early warning system, helping to prevent complications and reduce hospitalizations. In this day and age, we use technology for just about everything, and we always have our phones, computers, or tablets with us. So, after doing some simple searching through the list of topics we were chosen to pick through, we noticed how wearable technology seems to be a rapidly evolving field due to advancements in technology with increasing applications in healthcare, making it a great topic to further explore. If you are currently in the nursing profession or in school for nursing, this topic is very important because nurses can educate patients about the use of wearable equipment-based telemedical management to manage chronic cardiac issues. This includes monitoring their health by tracking trends in blood sugar, blood pressure, and LDL levels. Nurses also play a key role in advocating for and educating patients about the importance of early cancer screening tools like DNA methylation-based detection, which are becoming more common. The integration of wearable health technologies into patient care offers opportunities for nurses to deliver personalized, data-informed care and support interdisciplinary collaboration. Nurses must also consider challenges such as patient education, technology accessibility, and ethical concerns like privacy and long term adherence when using wearable tools in clinical settings. So take a seat, get comfortable, and grab a drink or snack because in this podcast, we will further explore how wearable technology is transforming chronic disease management, improving patient outcomes, and increasing accessibility to healthcare monitoring in comparison to standard monitoring practices. We will also discuss the benefits and challenges associated with integrating these devices into everyday patient care.
Thanks for explaining how wearable technology can help with various chronic illnesses like diabetes, various cardiac conditions, and you even mentioned cancer biomarker identification, Brittany. You mentioned that these resources were particularly needed in populations for which there may be limited access to healthcare services, such as rural areas or situations in which there's limited transportation available. You provided our listeners with a solid background for why this overall topic is significant for the nursing profession. So, now, Morgan, can you tell us what your group did next within this overall EBP project timeline?
Now that we highlighted the importance of this evidence based practice topic in nursing, I'd like to introduce our group's evidence based practice question. We structured our EBP question using the PICO format, which includes the population, intervention, comparison, and outcome. The question that guided our literature search for this project was: in chronic patients at risk for deterioration in a community setting, what is the effect of wearing wearable devices in comparison to standard monitoring practices on improving patient outcomes?
Thanks for sharing your group's PICO question with our listeners, Morgan. This question served to focus your group's investigations into the literature. So, can you tell us more about how you used that PICO question to help you find published research studies about your group's selected topic?
Our group used the PICO question to develop keywords for searching relevant literature in university library databases, including PubMed, EBSCO, Medline, Academic Search Complete, and APA PsycInfo. Some of the keywords used in our searches included full text, peer reviewed, last 5 years, and telemedicine. To refine our results, we applied specific search limiters such as filtering for peer-reviewed articles, full text availability, and searches published within the last 5 years. Additionally, we focused on keywords related to chronic disease management with devices, including wearable device monitoring, wearable devices for chronic diseases, and wearable devices for chronic illness to ensure we gathered the most relevant research. Overall, our literature search went well and we found plenty of useful research using our databases and keywords. One thing that really helped was setting filters like looking for peer review articles from the last 5 years. We also got better results by combining keywords like wearable devices with chronic device management. We did run into some challenges. A big issue was getting too many unrelated articles, especially ones about fitness tracking instead of medical use. We also noticed that the different databases use different terms, so we had to tweak our keywords to get better results. One trick that helped was using search commands like and, or, and not. For example, searching wearable devices and chronic illness gave us more useful studies, while adding not fitness tracking helped filter out stuff we didn't need. We also found that checking the reference list of good articles led us to even more helpful sources.
I appreciate your sharing some helpful insights into your group's literature search process, Morgan. Your group used a specialized searching technique called ancestry searching. This process involves searching a reference list of something that's been recently published in the literature to comb through the studies that study cited in that reference list. If the title of an article in a reference list looks pertinent to your EBP question, and if the study was not conducted too long ago in the past to no longer be particularly relevant, then you can use library resources to retrieve that study. You would then have to screen the abstract of that study to ensure that it really is relevant to your selected PO or PICO question. A related search strategy is called descendancy searching. This involves finding earlier studies of importance surrounding a research topic. These might even have been published in the 1990s. Using database search tools, especially in the PubMed database, you can see what more recent studies have cited that older study. This can be helpful for harder to find topics, though. So, just some food for thought. Now, after your group reviewed the retrieved peer reviewed studies, what key evidence did you discover pertaining to your group's selected PICO question?
Key evidence on wearable devices in chronic patient care. After conducting our literature search using the methods previously described, we selected high quality studies that directly addressed our evidence based practice question. In chronic patients at risk for clinical deterioration in a community setting, what is the effect of wearing wearable devices in comparison to standard monitoring practices on improving patient outcomes? Each group member critically appraised one study, and we synthesized these findings to capture the broader impact on wearable devices and patient outcomes. Our review highlighted several critical ways wearable devices improve patient outcomes. First, wearable devices enable continuous real-time monitoring, giving healthcare providers immediate access to vital health data. Unlike standard monitoring practices with intermittent measurements, these devices detect early signs of deterioration, allowing for timely interventions and reducing hospital admissions. Studies found that real-time tracking of heart rate variability and oxygen saturation helped predict exacerbations in conditions like heart failure and COPD, leading to earlier clinical intervention. Additionally, wearable devices enhance patient engagement and adherence to treatment plans. Patients using wearables become more aware of their health and are more likely to take proactive steps in managing their conditions. Research shows that patients with diabetes who use continuous glucose monitors achieve better glycemic control, while those with hypertension using wearable blood pressure monitors demonstrate improved medication adherence and lifestyle modifications. This increased engagement results in better disease management and improved quality of life. Wearables have also been shown to reduce emergency room visits and hospital readmissions. By tracking key health indicators, these devices provide early warning signs that help patients and providers take preventative actions. One study found that heart failure patients using wearables had significantly lower 30-day readmission rates. Similarly, wearable sensors used in post-surgical recovery enabled quicker detection of complications, leading to earlier medical intervention and better recovery outcomes. In summary, strong evidence supports the use of wearable devices as transformative tool for chronic patients at risk for clinical deterioration. These devices bridge the gap between traditional monitoring and proactive continuous care, ultimately leading to improved patient outcomes, fewer hospital visits, and better chronic disease management. As wearable technology continues to evolve, its integration into patient care has the potential to redefine how we support at-risk populations and community settings.
Excellent discussion of the studies that your group reviewed, Tori. I appreciate that you gave us some helpful examples of the various wearable technology modalities that were used as interventions in the studies your group reviewed. You mentioned a benefit to using these devices may be decrease hospital admissions, which is absolutely a major goal for both consumers and providers of healthcare alike. Now, Jayla, can you tell our listeners about some additional key implications that nurses across multiple different clinical specialties should consider based on the literature your group reviewed?
Implications for practice. Following our review of the literature, our group identified several key implications for nursing practice regarding the use of wearable devices in healthcare. Nurses are well positioned to educate patients on utilizing wearable devices to monitor key health indicators such as blood sugar or blood pressure, particularly in the management of chronic cardiac conditions. These technologies also support patient autonomy by enabling self management at home, which can contribute to reducing hospital visits. Nurses can play a crucial role in promoting early detection strategies such as DNA methylation based cancer screenings can become more accessible. Wearable technologies may facilitate the adoption of non opioid pain management strategies by providing more accurate tracking of pain trends over time. These practices can particularly be valuable in the settings such as primary care, chronic disease management, and telehealth environments where ongoing patient engagement is essential.
Thanks, Jayla. You provided our listeners with some helpful takeaways for how nurses can promote the use of wearable devices for individuals with various chronic diseases. So, Jayla, did your group find that there are any gaps in the present literature that may require further research studies in the future?
Implications for research. While there were benefits of wearable technology in healthcare, our research highlighted several areas where further research is warranted. One critical point involves the understanding of patient adherence, specifically how consistently patients use these devices and their perceptions regarding usability and effectiveness. There's also a need for long term studies to see if these tools truly help reduce hospital visits, enhance quality of life, or slow down disease progression in chronic patients. Future research should examine which parts of wearable devices, whether it's tracking pain, sleep, or activity, have the biggest positive impact on these patients and their outcomes. This kind of research could help shape more targeted, effective use of wearable health tools in both clinical and home settings.
Okay, so your group has given us a lot of excellent information about the current state of the science surrounding your selected clinical practice topic. After all of the research studies your group reviewed, including considerations for the weaknesses of those studies and potential continued gaps in the present literature that you just mentioned, what was your group's overall literature based answer to the original PICO question you shared previously with our audience?
Patients with chronic conditions such as pain, heart disease, cancer, and neurological disorder. Research supports the idea that these devices enhance patient self-management, meaning they give the patient more insight into their own health for a better understanding of what the body is going through, while also allowing caregivers such as nurse, doctors, etc., more to monitor progress remotely and spot problem early, which is better and which is better to make an accurate diagnosis, which will lead to a better decision for patient care. The sooner we cut an illness, the better we can come with a care plan and take care of it. For nurses, this means a great opportunity to deliver personalized, data-informed care and support each individual patient. So this time. This means that we can take of each patient as their own patient instead of all cancer patients get the same treatment. We can personalize the treatment for one specific person, which give sight to better care for patient. Although there is a lot of benefit with wearable devices, there is also some there's also some obstacle like thinking critically about accessibility. Not every patient can afford those devices or know how to use them. And then there is also about privacy. When someone health data is constantly being collected and reported on a computer and stuff, we gotta know how to protect it. Especially since we live in a day of technology, everybody have technology and everybody can hack technology and technology breakdown. There's a lot to consider. Sorry. As nurses, our job is to make sure our patients receive the best care possible, educate them on how to better themselves within and outside of the hospital. As the key evidence suggests, wearable devices improve clinical outcome when used as part of a therapeutic or telehealth intervention, especially in community setting. Um, Overall, wearable devices will help healthcare grow great.
Thanks for wrapping up your group's discussion, Cadley. I'm proud of each of you for integrating content that we've discussed in our undergraduate nursing research and EBP course into a real world literature search process. One of the phrases that you used in addressing the conclusions of this project was that of patient self management. Providing education and supportive interventions is one of the most important roles of nurses in acting as advocates for patients so that these patients can provide and play a key role in their own healthcare self management. This is a hallmark of person centered care. I also thought it was interesting that you did bring up ethical considerations related to who owns the data derived from these devices and how do we maintain security of that data to protect our patients' protected health information. At this point, I would also like to thank our listeners for going on this journey with us. Technology in healthcare is not going away. For example, my provider's office uses an app that allows me to sync my wearable devices within that app to provide trended health related data to my provider at the touch of a button. Your healthcare provider may also offer such capabilities now or in the future. More assessment based data can help us have a better idea of trends that may need to be addressed, but it does open the door to improper data management and security. These are all things that the healthcare community will need to keep in mind as we continue to expand the use of wearable technology to promote patient self management of chronic conditions. Thanks again for listening today.